Lately I've been taking myself sailing in Bodega Bay on the Pacific Ocean. In order to do this, I've had to let go of my requirement that I get places simply only by bike. I ended up buying myself an electric car last August, and it's been extremely liberating. As much as I thought it wasn't for me, now it's really feeling like it's for me because it's allowing me to do experiences like this. Bodega Bay is an incredible place to sail. This spot is what happens when you come back into Bodega Harbor through the narrow jetty. And so this last chunk of sailing is between the jetty and the boat ramp. And on this particular day, I had a double reefed sail. I was going against a tide, an outgoing tide, and fighting the ebb through this channel in about 15 to 18 knots of breeze. I was able to sit inside the boat, and the designer of this craft, Ross Lillistone, says that this is his favorite place to sit in a First Mate or a Phoenix 3, the two sister boats that have the same basic shape. Mine is an oversized First Mate, 12% scaled up. That's a great size for me. I can almost stretch my legs out completely. When the gusts hit, I actually push on my feet. But sitting inside the boat like this requires some faith that the boat was designed correctly, because you can't lean out much further than the carling to do your gust management. So what I was focusing on this last stretch of sailing as I approached the boat ramp was doing my gust management as much as possible with the main sheet versus using the tiller. So when you can see right there, I'm just letting the sheet go, but I'm trying to hold the same sailing line. So here I'm, chickening out just a little bit, putting my weight on the deck where I can lean way outside the hull and counterbalance the gusts, which were probably in the 20 knot range on this day. You can see the size of the wind waves and the white caps, and that's impressive because land is really close there off the port side, so they didn't have a lot of fetch. This was a 2-day gale. It blew about 20 miles per hour for about 24 hours. I sailed during a small lull in the gale, and the gale was regaining strength as I was approaching the boat ramp. I'm sailing up to it, realizing that I don't have a plan for landing in a gale. I had put so much of my mental energy on the possible danger of getting through the jetty during an ebb tide with a northern wind, which was hard, but ended up being manageable. You can see here one of the maneuvers here, trying to approach the rocks as close as possible so I don't lose too much ground to the ebb tide during the maneuver when the speed drops. And when I say losing ground, you can really see it on these rocks, how I've been now blasted back out of the jetty after doing one full tack. So there were about 4 or 5 of these zigzags within the jetty, and on each of them I had to make sure that my tack didn't fail. Earlier in the day I had failed a tack. The consequences of a failed tack in a situation like this could be really bad. I did this trip over Valentine's with Deanna, and I could have asked her to meet me at the boat ramp 20 minutes after she saw me fighting my way into the jetty. And then she would have been able to catch me. I could have tossed her a line, she could have stabilized the boat. But we didn't make that plan because I didn't think that far ahead. And I didn't have my phone with me because its battery was out. But I did have a radio, and I could have asked the Coast Guard for help. They're only 200 yards away. They would have probably sent someone rather than something bad happening. But in any case, I sailed away from the dock, away from safety. My plan was to sail far enough away from the boat ramp that I could have a little bit of time to drop the rig and switch to oars. Then I would row across the channel with the help of the ebb tide. Now, I've done this maneuver before where I drop the rig and row to the dock, and I have not done it with an exposed boat ramp like this in 20 knots of breeze. I didn't know what to expect as far as how well it was going to work out and the dangers involved. And now that I'm watching this footage, I'm just really aware of how far away I'm taking myself. The further away I'm taking myself from the destination, the more the range of possibilities for where I'm actually going to end up. I'm going to go for it. This is my plan. Start by raising up the centerboard. Now it's time to drop the rig. I always want my centerboard up when I'm dropping the rig or doing anything with the rig so I can slide around in case a gust comes and I'm not on the tiller. The rig falls perfectly into the new lazy jacks. Things are feeling pretty good. Now I'm fiddling with the lazy jacks. I feel like they're maybe too tight, so I'm loosening them so I can sit them down into the boat more. This will be improved by the installation of a new cleat for the lazy jacks. Lots of knots, lots of little knots. Now I'm going to put the rig right in the boat so it can't slosh around in the water. Time to grab the oars. Okay, I got my port side oar in. It's been a minute since letting go of the wind power in favor of oars. So I've been under the power of the wind and the tide for over a minute now. You can see the power of the hydraulics on the starboard side. And all that time, I'm getting pushed and I'm losing the ground that I sailed after leaving the boat ramp. Immediately, the results are harder than I expected. I'm pulling only with my right arm because the boat's not turning around as fast as it normally would in flat water. The tide and the wind are way more powerful than I expected. It's beginning to dawn on me that I might not be able to control where I end up. You can see some small areas of beach dotted with large rocks. That's kind of what I was dealing with. Unfortunately, my action cam died at this moment. I ended up so fortunately, on about a 60-foot section of beach between a boulder and some other small rocks, with absolutely no damage to the precious, thin G10 hull of the first mod. The gale lasted for another 2 or 4 hours. We let the tide drop, and we actually used the bike sailing system to put the boat on wheels, push it across the packed sand over to the boat ramp once the tide had dropped low enough. We wheeled across the packed sand, past those rocks, and then were able to retrieve. Car is the Kia Niro. Has about a 250-mile range. The trailer was purchased with the Banshee, and it's kind of on the short side. I just created these custom carpeted forms that match the first mod. You can see how the runner there rests, which is why the carpet is compressed. And that's a good thing because that means that the hull is not resting on the carpet very much. This is the cradle that I made for the bow. I don't know what that stuff is. And this is the latest custom work here. I extended the tow bar to get the boat a little bit further away from the car, making it easier to load up. So yeah, this is a lot easier than bike sailing. Maybe it's less, I don't know, world changing. But one thing I can say is that lately with the bike sailing, I've been getting so many flat tires that it's really kind of been frustrating more than it's been joyful. And I just feel like God wants me to have joyful sailing experiences, and this electric car has been the gateway to more joyful, less frustrating sailing experiences so far. So yeah, I'm gonna just do my thing here, tossing stuff inside, chasing daylight. Very different experience than bike sailing, I can tell you that. As you hear the car doors whacking, because I'm now a car person for the first time in my life. I hope you enjoyed these types of updates from me on my adventures, creative life, and the expansion within the world of sailing small open boats. And if you do, then please help me along on YouTube so that I can bring you more, keep you up to date. It's been fun. I hope you all are well. Till next time. Beautiful.